Hello, me lovely as well. Oh, what have I got up here? Let's see, let's get my comments on. Say hello to a few people. Hello, Bobby. Hello, Kerry King. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Flossie Jock. I'm sure that's going to be rude, isn't it? That's going to be so much rude. It just
Mm.
sounds, it doesn't it? Are you Frankie Jackson? So, got a few in here now. So, as you know, I'm talking to Cookie today from the True Crime Adventures channel, and Cookie's going to be giving us. So, are you Mrs. O? Um, what's this? I speed Cookie up. What does that mean? Is that some kind of, Mrs. O? You do realize when you cook, you must tell you, Mrs. O was in my finishing school for ladies of
All right.
respectability and deportment and etiquette. And sometimes she comes out with sayings, and I think that, when she's coming into my classes in a twin set and pearls, that when she's getting outside, she's doing quite different things. I think she's very street cred. She's a very, very street cred and worried about it.
Oh,
Um, are you a war baby? What do you know what? Someone called me that before. What do they mean by war babe? I haven't got a clue what a war babe is. Doesn't mean but I was called a war babe before. So war babe, what is a war babe? Because I don't know what it means.
were you born during the war or just after the war?
Well, 1951 it's got here. So war babe, that would be. Oh, that wouldn't be far after the. If they're saying that I'm a what cheek of them. I'm only. I've not long
A
hatched
war
out of my
babe.
egg.
No war babe, that thing. Could be a
I'm not a
story,
war babe.
story that talking.
Cheeky if they mean that. My God. Are you Steve? Oh, do you know what? She's pushing a look. He speaks kind of slow, like Mrs. O. You will have to get up on you and how ladies speak.
I
It's
do.
going to be a matter of the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plane with you next time we have a class. Anyway, so what when you do, Cookie, is introduce yourself to people and tell them about your channel and quickly sum up your history.
Well, I've got a channel called True Crime Adventures, and basically I called it that because my life, it's about all my life and my experience. And it has been a crime adventure, a true crime adventure. There's been nothing exciting about it, I gotta say. It's been, a lot of severe consequences gone on in my life because of my behaviour, being a criminal, Uh, I spent I spent 20 years in prison on a life sentence. First time I was in for 17 years, and the second time I was in for 3 years on a recall.
Mm.
So in total, I've done 20 years behind the door for murder. So aye, and like
So
I come out and I want to, my real passion is prison reform, and the lack of it in prison, so that's what I prefer to talk about rather than all the drama and stuff that's been going on. But
you get dragged
I
into it.
don't mind it, yeah.
But when you talk about prison reform, this it fascinates me the subject of prison reform. What is it you think should be getting done in prisons to reform them?
Well, I think we need to create an environment that that allows for real prison reform, you know, like they have going on in HMP Grendon,
Mm,
because from the moment you walk into the British prison, right, it's all about punishment,
yeah.
and that's all it's about. Every decision that's made in the prison is security dominated, right? Well, I would like to see that reversed, where yes, prison's about punishment, but every decision that's made about you in prison should be dominated by prison reform and not security. Start treating people like humans and see what response we get from all the lads in the prison.
You see, I think what most people, you either have the idea in your head that it's a punishment society punishing
Mhm.
someone, and as Methodists said it is. Prison should rehabilitate people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have two views on this, and I'm not saying that I'm any expert on it, but they go on about prison reform. And I'm not a fan of prisons. I mean, some things you need to put people in prison for. You just can't
Mm-hmm.
not put them in prison. But I think a lot of the time, the payback to society is better to be done if it's done
Mm-hmm.
in society. In other words, get the person to do the payback in society
Mm-hmm.
by working for communities and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But as for prison reform, I think the problem that you've got on that one, it's certain people will be way, way beyond any reform and they'll just play with it. Because I tell you what used to happen, and I saw this in the probation service, not in the police actually. You'd think I'd seen this in the police, but it's
Mm-hmm.
probation service. And it wasn't actually drug users either. It was when they used to do this, if you if you were going to have your license taken away from you, you could do a course on road safety and all this
Mm-hmm.
because you've been
Mm-hmm.
speeding or drinking
Aye.
or under the influence. Do you know what I've never seen such odious, horrible people that used to come in and they just saw it as a laugh. Ha ha ha! We can get away
Mm-hmm.
with this now
Mm-hmm.
if we do this course. They were not reformed, nothing, and they were just going through the system saying this will get us, keep us, get the license and all that. And I used to say, you want to bin this. You want to bin this if someone does a speeding offence or someone's found under the influence. And I really think that the law should throw the book right at them
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you might as well go with the gun and
Mm-hmm.
go in the street and start firing at people as get in a car under the influence or speeding. But yeah, I think sometimes I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, often I think what it is if you've got someone that's hasn't had an education, has been in the wrong place, has got a drug habit, yet in prison, address all those issues. And it's too easy in prison to be sitting in your prison cell smoking drugs or whatever, or taking drugs.
It
We all
is.
know it
Mm-hmm.
happens. It
Mm-hmm.
happens.
It is.
And they want it to happen because that keeps the inmates under control.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to start kicking off. But
Mm-hmm.
what gets me is if there is reform, it's got to be in the way of education. And I mean, a proper basic 3 hours education if the person hasn't got it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's got to reach outside the prison. They've
Mm-hmm.
got to look at this, see what society the person's being brought up with, because no matter what, you usually find people will be a produce of what's going on around them,
That's right. The environment they come from.
the environment. So you've got to work out how do we get them away, and is it
Mm-hmm.
possible to get them away from this environment? And that's so it's not an easy to me. It's not an easy subject because
No.
you could reform someone, send them back into. I think the
Mm-hmm.
best thing I saw 1 years ago on the television, and they got this was young teens who were going off the rails, and I thought this was amazing, Cookie, and they actually took them to a can't remember which third world country it was, but it was children who were really suffering.
I've seen something like that.
My God, the
Mm-hmm.
change in those youths went, and actually one of them went back there and
Mm-hmm.
stayed there to help as a worker.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
this was
right.
someone that was no lads
Aye.
like that. So I
Aye.
say, never give up on someone, never give up on kids, never give
Mm-hmm.
up on someone. They've just got to be put in the situation to see that
Mm-hmm.
they are we are so lucky to be where we are. We
Mm-hmm.
are so lucky not to have to go looking for dirty water to drink. We're lucky that we can get food. It's just this is it. But that's my little say on it. But anyway,
Aye.
you've had some drama cropping up. So tell us about your recent drama.
Oh, just like with Paddy coming out calling his names and stuff. He keeps bringing us in his stuff on his channel. I mean,
Mm,
I find it. I mean, to have to come out and say stuff like that is, I find disgusting, really. I have to defend myself against stuff like that. It's wrong. I shouldn't have to do it. I don't know how we can get away with coming out and telling pure lies about people, because I'm not the only one he talks about like
mm.
this. I mean, it's serious trolling going on, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is it. It's what it is. Is it goes beyond just being insulting or being, as I say, being a housewife in New York bitch or whatever, or Orange
Hmm.
County bitch online. It when they're starting to throw out allegations, being a danger around children and all that.
Hmm.
That's when it's gone way too far. And the person that it hits at the end of the day, this is what I would say, it hits the person that's doing it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he's attacking. He's trying. What he's trying to do with me, right? He's trying to attack my personal relationships, right? That's what he's trying to do by saying stuff like that. Because he
Mm,
knows it's not true, and I'm not going to be prosecuted or out like that. It was, and he would like me isolated. So therefore, I'm feeling more vulnerable. I'm more open to being manipulated, stuff like that, and that's what he's trying to do with me.
mm.
You
Do you
know,
know, well, Paddy, I just want to draw your attention to this because it's an important question, and HM2203 is quite right to ask this. Cookie, what I find disgusting is the fact you say the 11-year-old didn't exist. So, do you want to respond to that? Because that's what they were all hanging on about, wasn't it? But it was twisted.
I don't know, right? All I know, right, is that I've got to speak my truth, and I cannot tell lies. I cannot tell
Mm,
lies around this issue. So when it come to Decker, right, I was in prison. I was in a DCAT prison. I was on a billet, and there was some naughty lads on this billet, right? And I got to know them really, really well. And one of them in particular, I held a hell of a lot of respect for. And he was
mm,
from Decca's way, right? A lot of respect, especially for what he said. And and I had to think long and hard about this because when everybody said and done what they've said on YouTube, right? I would
mm.
believe this man over all them, you know,
Yeah.
and the company he spoke because they were taking the mick up me pal, right? About Decker,
Mm,
right? And he spoke up about Decker and said, yeah, he's a fighting man, he's all right, right? And then they brought up the allegation about the nightclub thing, because that's what brought it all up, you see. And then he says, no, that's okay. He was all right on the doors, and he defended him on that as well. And then the allegation about the 11-year-old lassie come up, and my pal strictly turned around and said, and defended Decker to the hilt on that issue and said that there was nothing in that, nothing at all, nothing at all. And
mm,
that's all I can say about that. And when we're talking about taking people's words for stuff and all that, right? I take the word of that man all day over anybody on YouTube.
mm. I think what it is as well is this is what I was saying. Um, a while ago about this whole Decahedron situation when lies, clear lies were being told about him, right? And you could tell, and I'll name the
Mhm,
person, MMA philosophy was the worst one. I mean, it was cringingly obvious that he was making certain things up.
mhm,
Now, when you've got that happening, or that,
mhm,
he raped a man and all this business, but the fella ironically took his own life, he was that embarrassed by it but managed to tell everyone about it. So how did they know about it unless he went around saying, "Oh, guess what? If he was embarrassed about it that he took his life over it, why would he be running around telling people about it?"
mhm,
You can work it out. It doesn't take long to work out that's
mhm,
all lies. So this is what I've been saying. You start putting that in the mix and lies are put out there. No one knows what to believe and what not to
that's
believe. So
right.
they end up not believing because they say, well,
Mhm,
there's so many lies being told. So this 11-year-old could be fact. This 11-year-old
could
might
be.
not be fact. But the
That's
fact
right.
is that it was twisted around what you said. You weren't
Mhm,
saying that there was an 11-year-old
mhm,
and you didn't believe a word out of her mouth. The
mhm.
fact is, no one knows for sure, 100% for sure, whether this 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 child exists or not. It could do. This child could exist, but it's for the police to deal with that. Now, Carl McCorn come on saying so he defended Decker for a situation he was convicted for, and you take the word of that man over a Claire's road reveal, and his reviews show his sort Acro says more about the mental health of Cookie. Now, I'd heard this before. Isn't it that that Decker actually mentioned this 11-year-old himself, didn't he, at some point
Mhm.
in a phone call?
Mhm.
I can't
Mhm.
remember the wording of that, but here we are.
Mhm.
Here we are. Kelsey's got it here.
My point is, you know, uh, Decker, I don't believe, right? I think that Decker has been labelled a lot. I believe that there's been manufactured stuff about him, right? But at the same time, I don't believe that he's had a naughty lifestyle around whatever,
Mm.
But I don't think he's a sex offender. I didn't.
Oh, I think he. Do you know what? Somehow, I don't know. I'm very wary of Decker. I am very, very wary because I think the way he acts, sort of like, even though there's lots of lies going on, the way he acts and presents himself sometimes, the way he plays with things, you think there's something. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's just like a sixth sense that you get, and I don't know whether
Mhm.
people in the chat think this. Do you think at times that you get like that knot in your stomach, thinking something not right here? That's what I'd say it is. But I know that a lot hinges on this phone call that where he said she existed, but I'm telling you now, I can't see why the police wouldn't act on that 11-year-old. If it,
Well,
I
that's
can't understand it.
well, that's what I was thinking, right? With people saying that I wouldn't take that thing serious allegation from an 11-year-old. I would
Mm.
take that kind of allegation very, very, very seriously. You know, if that allegation come by my way, where somebody had said that to me, and a lassie or what, a young lassie or whatever, So I'm
Mm.
sure the police would have took that allegation against Decker very, 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 very seriously.
I know my experience of the police. As long the only
Mhm.
way it gets covered up and like that is if it's a celebrity that they use and they know a radio presenter that they can
Mhm.
use for propaganda or newspapers or anyone like that or MPs or anyone that's really, I say, out there and
Mhm.
can help. In other words, they can do a lot for the police.
Mhm.
They'll cover up for them, I say, MPs, lawyers, solicitors, and stuff like that. Now, unless Decker is a anyway, let's see. Kelsey's come up with something on this now. The allegation was retracted straight away, and it was portrayed as the mother being malicious, maybe.
Mhm.
But again, we don't know, and that's what
That's
we don't
why I
want to
didn't
get
want to
into.
elaborate on that. You
Yeah,
see.
to me, that's like we don't know. It's could be true. It might not be true. There's been that many lies told. We know that there's definitely
Mhm.
evidence that a certain person was trying to pay for false allegations by the looks of it. I'm sorry, that's what it
Mhm.
looks very like, paying for allegations. So this is what muddies it, and it gets it. It just gets it to the point where
Mhm.
you think what's going on, but to turn around and say that what you said
Mhm.
was you didn't. He didn't says he doesn't believe this 11-year-old girl, especially from
Yeah.
Paddy. And I've said this again and again. People remember, please remember when you're talking about Paddy Conroy, right? He only stopped talking to to Decker and turned on Decker because Decker spoke to Steve Wraith. Who
Exactly right.
Decker did to speak to
Exactly
Steve
right.
Wraith.
Yeah.
That's exactly why
Not
he
do his
couldn't have,
exact bidding.
exactly, he couldn't give a damn if Decker had been abusing 111-year-olds. That wouldn't have bothered him as long as Decker was giving him airtime. And that's what it comes down to in my mind. That's all he was doing. But and also we've seen it because what now this is what um let's see. Yeah, the thing with that is a lot of offences are, and you're right to say that it's disgusting the way the standard is of sexual offences being prosecuted or conviction. But at the same time, don't forget that's a judge doing that. And the police will take it up, though. That's it. So it doesn't, has this 11-year-old actually been taken up by the police? We don't know. That's the question. But again, we're going into things that don't
Mm-hmm.
really, oh, strange. Yeah, he admitted the 11-year-old accusation. He said her mother got her to lie. It's very dirty and sordid, isn't it? It's very, very dirty and sordid.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get. If a second case law makes it into the public domain and proves there are even more NFAs and recorded in a police station, will Cookie believe that Decker is... Well, do you believe Decker is a significant risk to women and kids?
Right. What I believe is, right, is that if Decker is what Corner and everybody else, Humble Dry and everybody's saying about him, right? I know that his behaviour will get him into serious, serious trouble.
Mm.
And that the police will be looking at him right now for these sorts of things that's going on. Right? And any witnesses coming forward, I mean, they'll be all over it. I mean, it's the same for criminals. If you carry on, if you're emotionally a criminal, right, and that's how you function as a criminal, and that's what you do, sooner or later you're going to get caught by the police. It's as simple as that. And it's the same thing for Decker. If Decker is what people say he is, then he's gonna end up in serious, serious trouble.
In other words, he'll slip up at some point, and that will do it.
He already hasn't.
Yeah, but it's just, as I say, it's very, very sordid. It isn't very, because remember, for people who can't remember, I'll remind people about it. I was asked, God, sometimes I say I do. Sometimes I have a little angel, I'm sure, watching over me, or someone watching over me. Mm-hmm. But I just got this message from Sean Atwood. Do you want to appear on? Decker wants to talk to you. So Decker gave me his number. He gave me Decker's number. And I thought, I wonder what this is about. This was before anything was up there about acros or anything. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know who Decker was. I didn't have a clue who he was. And what I'll answer that in a minute, Sugar Spun. What happened was I turned around and I went, oh, I don't know. And I was getting ready. I was saying I might do. So I actually left a message with Deck and said, oh, I believe you want to speak to me about something, blah, 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 blah. What do you want to speak about? Anyway, he never got back to me. He never returned the call. Mm-hmm. And then Sean got on to me again and he said, oh, we're going to be on. I said, well, what does he want to talk about? So I didn't know whether he wanted to interview me or what the hell, what he was going to do. So I said, well, what does he want to talk about? And he said, cyberbullying. So I said, oh, and he said, well, me and Ron Swanson are on. And once I heard the name Ron Swanson, said no. Said no chance. And he went, oh, all right, then I'll tell him that, going on. Oh, are you, Paris? So I thought, great stuff. I'm not going on there because I don't really want to get involved in that kind of thing. Well, that was like something. I said, I didn't know Decker. I could have gone on that show only for the fact I never thought I'd say Ron Swanson stopped me walking into a situation that I could be regretting to this day through pure ignorance. I didn't know about Decker. I didn't know anything that was being said about him. And the one, even though he doesn't like me and I've had to go with him, the one that really walked right into it was Ronan and got the hammering for it. And I thought that could have been me. That so easily could have been me to do that. So I have sympathy with Ronan over that. I really do have sympathy on that one. But so that's how then it all blew up. And oh my God, I thought, what's going on? It's all brand new. I still fully don't understand all the things that are going on.
It all seems to have blown up since he parted ways with Paddy.
Yeah.
That's when it all started.
I don't know about that.
Crazy.
No, I think what it was, I think in the I don't think it was when Paddy. I think what it was, it just the events happened around that time. I don't
Mm,
think it was Paddy at all that actually kicked her off. I
mm,
don't think he's that powerful, Paddy. I really don't. I think it was just it was timed. No coincidence happened in life, and they just do. I
mm,
think the acro thing
mm.
blew up, then that blew up at the
No, well,
same time.
I believe he had. Oh, I don't
Oh,
know
what's happened?
what's happened there.
Well, we can still hear you.
Can you still hear us?
Yeah,
Yeah, just double check. Can
I
you hear
just
us
click.
now?
I don't know. I just um
Hang
clicked
on,
on something, and I don't know. No, it couldn't have been me
hang
or
on,
you. Would you know?
hang on. Maybe my camera.
No, do you know what this all? Let's see,
Oh
show
man,
do.
what's happened there? Can you see us? Can you still
Yeah,
hear?
can see you. Can see you now. Yeah, don't know what that was. Now Bobby Crush has made a very good one, which I think we need to discuss. Over 1,400 child victims in Rotherham, and all this time wasted on Decker. Now, one, I don't think if Decker is guilty of something, I think he has to be watched. But
That's right.
this is what I turned around and said the other day. I said, is Decker the only person in the country that is allegedly a danger to women and children? Why is all the emphasis on him? There's the thousands of potential
But
people. Yeah, everyone's. It's like it's a personal vendetta at times. I think definitely Humble has got and Donna have got a personal vendetta against him. Dingo has, Paddy definitely has a personal. Oh, Tony Baker obviously has a vendetta against him.
mhm.
But that's not say. Let me say this way, and I've said this the other day. That doesn't mean that what Tony's claiming is rubbish. It doesn't mean that what he's saying, or it doesn't mean what Humble Dryer is saying is rubbish. It doesn't mean that. But the way they're going about it makes it look like it
Undermined
is
it.
a vendetta. And it's like, couldn't you just let the law take its own course? But people argue, they say, well, the law isn't doing anything, which I can understand people's frustration because it can be the most useless um, system going, the legal system. It really can be totally useless. But the thing is that I agree with that. Why is all this emphasis? Why is everyone like, oh, so intense on him? Just him, when there's going to be many. And I can tell now, some of those people, I can tell you now, Cookie, it's guaranteed that it's going to be a statistical fact. One or more of the people, and there's loads attacking them, it's going to be one themselves that is using deflection tactics.
Mhm.
Definitely
Oh, most,
100%.
most definitely. I mean, look at how far it's gone, man. And I mean, look at what I mean. I've just looked at the stuff with motorsports buggy and the conflict in it. It's just getting out of hand. It's just
It's
totally
getting
getting
mad.
out of hand.
Yeah, it's getting totally.
People that
No,
looks like they might have like mental health problems or getting involved. You
yeah.
know,
Well,
vulnerable people.
this is what's going on, and there is a lot of damage being done in the background. Now, HM2203, DH is on here and promoting themselves as a mental health ambassador, which, as I say, people shouldn't be doing unless they're a professional. And I've said
Mhm,
this from day one, a professional.
mhm,
We don't know any more sex offenders with YouTube channels on here. Do you? How do you know? You don't know who the hell, and I'm telling you this,
mhm,
you will be horrified to find, because this is what I always say. It's when no people turn around to me and say, "You're dangerous son because I wear makeup and all this." Usually find that someone that is a danger to children doesn't advertise themselves or make themselves stand out. They just don't do it because they don't want to attract attention to
mhm,
themselves. They'll
mhm,
be the most normal,
mhm,
nice person going, and actually they'll most probably be on YouTube screaming about bloody day, we should string them up and all this. Believe me, it happens, people. It happens.
mhm,
But that's but as this ambassador, this gets on my nerves. They're all running around their ambassadors for mental health. Look, people can talk about their own mental health, but they can't. It's when they start trying to make out that they're, it follow their way and it's going to help you.
Well,
Or they go,
I watched Decca's video that he done on his mental health last night, I think it was, where he was talking through, he's up when he, because he's been having outbursts the last
Mm,
3 or 4 videos. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. It is,
yeah.
and he's struggling through that. And you can see how his mental health is rising to the surface, and he seems to be working through them big bipolar high moments where he's shooting them down like a lunatic and calming down and then talking about it sensibly and rationalizing, trying to raise his emotional awareness when he's in that vulnerable state and at that height. He seems to be doing all everything, and that's what I mean with that guy when
Well, you,
he's up and down, and yeah, he has contradicted himself and stuff and all that, but he does have a lot of emotional maturity and understanding going for him, you
you
know.
see, but the thing is, right? It's when YouTube isn't the place for someone who is it's this one. Here we are. DH took 3 days to recover. I think this is the one that was Freddie Town. DH took 3 days to
Mhm.
recover from a mental breakdown. That's impossible, which it is. I mean, I've had a breakdown,
Mhm.
and it took me more than um,
Mhm.
3 days to get over it. And this is what Decker does. He plays right into people's, and I think he knows he's playing. He's playing a game, and that's where I start losing any kind of thinking. Oh, is
Mhm.
this person a victim of bullying or all this, that, and the other? Yeah, he is a victim of vendetta, but he's playing with it. And as I said yesterday, if he was serious, right? If he was serious, why the hell won't he have Tony Baker lifted by the police? Now, that's very, very suspicious. And it could be the fact, as I said yesterday, that maybe he doesn't want to because, as I hate to quote Humble Dry because he's not in my gut books at all at the moment. But Humble Dry, as he said, it might be that if it gets to court, he'll have to produce things that will prove what people are saying about him. Now, that's
Mhm.
what gets me suspicious. His Decker's playing with it. He seems too
Mhm.
comfortable with it. And it's like, oh, I've got, but that I've had a mental breakdown. That's a load of rubbish. You don't get over a mental breakdown in 3 days. That would be absolutely amazing.
No, I don't think you do either. Took me a
But
long time to get over mine.
oh yeah, Kel says DHF Infuser. He said himself that he thinks there's no such thing as bad publicity. There is, there is, there is. I keep on saying this. That's one of the
Mhm.
worst sayings going. There's no such thing as a bad publicity. Sometimes the publicity, which I was saying to you before we came on, when we about people, they don't realise they're setting themselves up to be absolutely destroyed.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and I was talking about Paddy. Paddy wants to be this, oh, that nice little old man, you know, from Nottingham. Oh, he's a bad guy. Okay, he did some bad, but he's a nice old man. He's a lovely old fella.
That's right.
No, what they'll see is a bigot. Videos with the most horrendous, bigoted hatred speech coming out of his mouth.
Mhm.
In today's
Mhm.
world, they're dragging down statues for
Mhm.
less than that.
Mhm.
So what they're going to do is they're going to say, right, consign to the bin of doesn't
Mhm.
exist. And that's what they're doing. They're counseling people from history now.
Mhm.
So it's
Oh, they are. Yes, they are.
anyway,
Mhm.
I'm getting asked here. Anyway, sorry, Shucks, one. I forgot your question before. I wasn't ignoring you or avoiding you. So, Anne, do you think Dickie is you have to be careful saying that word on
Mhm.
YouTube. And do you believe he actually is bipolar? I don't know. It's the straightforward. I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence to say he has, but I might have missed. He is. I might have
Well,
missed it. Is he bipolar?
mhm.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that when he's saying he's having bipolar episodes, he is. I think he's just having bad. He's in other words, he's having a rage towards what's happening. See, this is the thing I always say as well. People get um, confused between normal human reactions. Look, if someone's calling you a danger to children, if someone's hounding you and getting on your case all the time, it's a natural human instinct to be annoyed about it, sad about it, and scream about it, and yell about it, and threaten people. It's a
It is.
natural
Yeah.
human. That doesn't mean someone's got bipolar or depression. I think you can label it bipolar. I mean, only his doctor knows whether he's got bipolar or not. But what I've seen, I don't see it as being bipolar, because bipolar, it, from what I understand of it, thankfully I've never had anything like that. But you take a massive high, don't you? And then you take a
The
dip,
big low. Yeah, that's right.
and but doesn't the massive high will last for a while, and
And
then
that's
the
when your
low,
behaviours can
yeah,
like sort of like get out of control and stuff and that, and you're making decisions on an impulse, which is Decker.
yeah,
There's a lot of things about Decker's lifestyle and his
mm,
past lifestyle that indicate that he is bipolar because of how impulsive he is and the bad decisions that he makes, and he plays that out he does
mm,
play that out on YouTube, and I find it's only because I've been round a lot of people. This is my thing about the prison, you see, because a lot of people in prison they have bipolar, that they have serious behavioral problems and stuff and that. And Decker seems like one to me. It is honest,
well, the only way
but
would I mean, I'm not going to say that he hasn't, but what I'm going to
mm,
say is that usually when you see someone with bipolar, I say you get that it's the extremes, but then there'll be, and it's
that's
literally
right.
like
Oh,
zombified,
mhm,
and
mhm.
they're just in
And
this terrible
kind of
state of
communicate
blackness
with the
and
world and
darkness.
stuff and that, yeah.
That's it. Where he doesn't have that.
Mhm, mhm.
He doesn't do
Aye, aye,
this. He
aye.
doesn't
I
go
see
to
what
that, and
you
that's what
mean. Mhm,
I don't see.
mhm,
But that's where I say itself, is he just saying it is
mhm,
bipolar, but it's just
mhm,
a natural angry reaction to what's
mhm,
going on, because
mhm,
you'd be absolutely fumed, but you don't see that totally
mhm.
um, drained, as say that thing where, I
Aye,
mean,
aye, aye.
the most famous person that what we call bipolar now, but in those days it was called something else, was the writer Virginia Woolf. And what I always found fascinating about Virginia Woolf committed suicide. She drowned herself, which is a horrendous way to go. I mean, you've got to be determined to actually drown yourself
Oh,
in a
you have.
river.
Aye,
My
aye.
God, you've got to be determined.
Mhm,
But you know what the horrendous thing was? She actually drowned herself when she was on a high. And I remember saying to a teacher in school, I said, because we were reading one of
mhm,
the books, I think it was to the Mrs. Doubtfire.
mhm,
And I said, why did she do when she was on a high?
mhm,
And the teacher said, lots of people in that condition do, because they know that high is going to end
mhm,
and they can't face going into the
mhm,
depths.
mhm,
So
mhm,
literally did it when she was happy, not when
mhm.
she was sad. Oh, I thought that was
Which
so
hard is that?
poignant about it. Absolutely
Mhm,
poignant that happened. But
mhm.
anyway, let's see. Anyway, have you ever met HM2203 is coming out with some really brilliant questions. Have you ever met Decker
No, I've
and
not
what?
met Decker in person, but I have had like conversations with him on the phone and stuff like that, and we have communicated through messenger and stuff and that, Uh, no, but we've not done a face-to-face meet, no. Mm.
Yeah, you know. So come on, the pair of you. What about Steve asking Decker to come on his show? What's your views? Well, that's up to Steve. If I personally don't think Decker will. I don't think Decker will agree to it, but that's up to Steve. If Steve wants him on there, uh, I don't know what Steve's planning to ask or what's going to. I don't know. But if Steve wants to ask him on, that's up to him, isn't it?
Mhm. Well, I think it'd be a good idea for Decker to come on there. I really do. I think it, because at the end of the day, you know, Decker needs to move forward on these issues in a positive way, and I can see that that could happen with on collaborating with Steve, and moving forward and getting some closure or some sort of
Mm.
ending all this stuff that's going on, because honest, I'm sick of yarn about Decker being this and that, and
I think what it is, if this all stopped, and I think we all know it, don't we, in the chat? Come on, we know it. If this all stopped, Decca's channel would go like that, because the whole thing that's built it up is this. And that's the tragic thing about it. He thinks that he's popular. He isn't. It's notorious. That's what it is. And that's was said before. He thinks all publicity is bad publicity is
oh, I don't
good
think so.
publicity. It isn't, because once it stops, that's it. You just slide right down. And like everything, I've said this before. I mean, I was unfortunate that I was wrapped up in. Um, didn't realize I was releasing the Daddy Gate scandal
Mm-hmm.
that happened over Sean Atwood. Now, that was like, that was bigger than this. Oh, wow. That was much bigger than the thingo, than this Decahegi thing. But where is it now? People just
Gone.
aren't interested. It's
That's
gone.
right.
People aren't
Gone.
interested. But the thing with Decker is that Deckers seems to just go on and
Yeah.
on and on and on and on. And I think why that is because Decker can play up to it, as I say. He can keep it going, and I think he is personally keeping it going. And that's why I wouldn't have sympathy for him, or I wouldn't think, oh, Paul Decker.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I'm not convinced that there isn't something. I mean, I'm really of that situation. Like I think a lot of people are, is there something there? There might be, because the way he carries on. But there's other people involved in all this that are throwing stones
Mm-hmm.
that really are looking
Mm-hmm.
very curious. So you think, I don't like, wouldn't be surprised to find out there's something on them as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how could Decker clear his name for real? I mean, and how I
He'd
mean,
have to he'd have to go get those sales loss checks done, the Clays loss checks. He'd have to stop playing games, but he'd have to get them out there. But the thing is how does he do it? He'd have to actually entrust it to someone that people would know wasn't going to twist things or keep things from him. That's the only way he can. But you know what? I'll tell you now, and I said this about a decade ages ago, and I'd say about anyone. Some people just don't want to believe you. You could actually turn around and put all the evidence there, and they'll say, "No, that was faked," or "That was this." So you can't win at the end of the day. You can't win. That's why I won't go into debates with people when I know they want to believe something about me.
Because maybe I don't know who Oldham was. He mentioned a lie detector test.
Well, they lie detector test.
Is it at the stage where he needs to do that?
No, I tell you now. Well, if he wants to, let him do it. But I'll tell you something about lie detector test, right? All this that the what people are watching television. Oh, you want like? Oh, that's them raw 100%. The person who invented the lie detector test, right, said it's really not that. It's not that as foolproof as you think. It certainly is not. And if you've got someone, let's say that you've got a sociopath or psychopath, because they convince themselves of their own lies, they'll pass it. They'll pass it. That's what you've got to understand. And when you're talking about a sociopath or a psychopath, they haven't got their emotions are out of kilter. I was saying this the other day when we were talking about autism. I said, what sociopaths and psychopaths can learn to do, especially psychopaths, should I say, they can be very empathetic people, but they've trained themselves by watching others, very intelligent, that if they act like this, that will get what they want. And that's why they do it. So they act empathetic and nice so they can get what they want. But if you were to put them on a lie detector test, they'd pass it because they can get their emotions and just keep them right down there. And this is the problem you have. So say that Decker was a sociopath or a psychopath, he'd pass it. And so,
well, I sort of agree with you there, because one of the things they teach you about in addiction, right, is delusion. Is being delusional and truly believing in something that's not true. That's how people like me and that how we can justify our bad behavior and commit crimes, because we're delusional. We convince ourselves We believe in stuff that's not true. So it's okay to steal off somebody. It's okay to go and bash somebody. It's okay to do all these bad things because what they
Yeah.
do.
That's it. If you convince yourself that something's true, and there's a thing I can't remember in psychology where they actually talk about this, and it's where someone, it's also the blame thing as well. You
Mm-hmm.
do this because of this or because of that, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember what it's called. It's not called deflection, but there's a special name for it where they say that you actually use this so you don't take the blame for it
Mm-hmm.
in your own mind. Now, I say lie detector tests, they can't, depending on the person, they can pass it, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason, and I think it was a Carol, you said it. I don't know who said it. Let's see, Mrs. O. Here we are. They can't be used in a court of law. Now that's true. Two things you can't use in a court of law is lie detector. Some countries, I mean, I think in Canada you can't you? Or before you get into the police, join the police in Canada, you have to have a lie detector test.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely here they're not allowed permissible in courts because they found to be really, really faulty. And it all depends how the questions asked. Another thing that they won't allow is hypnotic regression,
Mm-hmm.
hypnotizing people back,
Mm-hmm.
which I spoke about ages ago. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why they won't allow hypnosis because you basically dream. And there's a famous case, and that's say like it's how the questions asked and the way it's asked.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, you get people saying, "Oh, that person's lying." No, body language is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Any body language expert will tell you when someone says, "Oh, did you see their eyes? Did you see this?" They'll say, "Total nonsense. You can't
Oh,
tell
that's
by
right.
that."
All
You've
right.
got to have literally a camera here, a
Mm-hmm.
camera there, a camera there, cameras all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get all the little things. Because someone can be doing that, looking down like this, simply because they're thinking that person thinks I'm guilty. Not because they're guilty, because because they know the
Mm-hmm.
person thinks they're
Mm-hmm.
guilty. So they do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much, much more complex than what people think. And it's not as easy as a lie detector test or hypnosis, but a very famous one, hypnosis case in America, which proved the point that they can't use it as evidence, is there's this woman, they showed her on television, and this fella had been convicted of a crime because this woman said she'd seen a van. And when she was asked by the police, well, what did you see? She said, all that I could see was this outline of a figure. She said, I couldn't give you the features or
Mm-hmm.
anything. She said, I just saw that. That's all I saw. Anyway, to prove the point, the defense got this woman and hypnotized her. No, got this woman, sorry. And what it was, this woman had heard a car backfiring. She wasn't related to this case, but she had a car backfiring. So they said, right, we'll use her. So anyway, they put her into a hypnotic trance, got her into it, and just very slightly, and you hardly hear it, Cookie. It's so slight. The
Mm-hmm.
hypnotist says, gun, and leaves her at that. She woke up convinced that's all he said, dead quietly,
Mm-hmm.
gun. She was convinced she'd heard a gun going off, where
Uh,
before then she
uh,
said it was a car backfiring. They
uh,
took that evidence into the court, and do you know how they got it? They turned around, they said, this woman, when she was hypnotized by the prosecution, they'd said to her, you can see inside the van, so it's not a shade. Focus in
mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
the person that you can see in the van. So she focused in and she described the defendant, the person who's being tried. Well, as the defense said, they said, how many people in real life can look at something in the distance and zoom in into it with binocular vision? You can't do it. Well, if
Oh,
you can't do it in real life, you
mm-hmm.
can't. The only way you're doing it under hypnosis is if you dream.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they said it's no more than someone dreaming it. So the
Mm-hmm.
case was kicked right out of court for that alone. It's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to mess about with people's brains and when
It
they're
is,
in
huh?
that condition.
Mm-hmm. Ah, but it is.
So I thought that would be exciting for people to hear about. But
Oh,
do you know what? This box drives me mad. There's a little box now and again jumps up and it drives me mad. I can't see the comments. It goes away of its own accord. Maybe that's gone away now. Oh, yeah, you've got it. I don't know whether I can show it. I want to show this. There we are, the gory head.
the gold heat.
What's that thing you've got?
This,
Yeah.
it's just a mask.
Oh, it's a mask. Oh, you got on the salt. God. How the hell did Paddy Conroy get on my show?
Right. It's all right, isn't it? Aye, I don't know why I got it. I got it when people were coming on with masks and stuff and that in case I needed it, but
Yeah.
I stopped having conflict like that, so I just use it as a prop now.
I saw it the other day and I thought, what's he got there? I think with the glass on, it looked like one of those film heads. Those.
Aye.
Let's see. Just want to see what you want to straighten it with a humble
Moving
dryer.
bit.
Nah, he'll never agree to that. It took me ages to get him to talk to me on me chat. It did. It took me ages. He was making all kinds. Unless you do this, unless you do that, unless you do that. They're terrified of me, Cookie. You're rare. For some reason, all these expat boys are terrified of coming on my show. They are. It's like, oh, I'm not going on with that. I'm not going on with that.
I don't know why.
I know I'm lovely, aren't I? I'm lovely.
Aye,
I never have a bad
get a
word to
good
say
time.
about anyone. Never a bad word to say about it. I'm positive. Happy, 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 happy. That's me, positive. And here we are. Let's see. Funny how. Here we are. Funny how Conroy doesn't get the same treatment for actually downloading. Well, he says he didn't download it, did he? But he doesn't mind accusing other people of it.
Mm-hmm.
Of what his ex-wife thought looked like an underage girl. Imagine if that was DH. Well, he made that allegation towards you, which you cleared up, didn't you? And this is so. When you first felt, just talk us through, because I don't know the exact thing behind this. How did you and Paddy get to know each other, and how did you fall out with each other?
Well, Paddy is right that years ago when I was knocking on with Glover and stuff and that I had very little to do with Paddy, and I only met him a few times in passing and what have you in the bar and that, but never ever sat down and had a drink with him and out like that. It wasn't until about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, he invited us up to the farm. And that's when I first met Paddy Conroy properly and got to know him. And I sat up the farm with him for about 5 months or something. And he made up a story about us and borrowed us from the farm, right? So, I sort of like knew what he was like from that. I didn't really believe what everybody was saying and stuff and that about him, because of what I had grew up with him around us and stuff and all that, I hadn't been directly involved with him, but I'd always been with Glover and I always lived in the same estate as him and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So it wasn't until he made up something stupid about us and borrowed us from the farm that I thought, hi, he's calling everybody a grasshopper near him and stuff like that. So all these rumours are true. He's lost his mind, right? And then I think it was about last summer when I went up, wasn't it? I went back up the farm last summer because I seen him make loads of videos. And I mean, he must have made about 100 videos before they come on my YouTube channel. But I had been wanting to come on YouTube for a while, but I had wanted to do something that was, positive and that maybe I could help and talk about drugs and drug addiction and reform and all that. And I thought Paddy could be a great ally and come on board and do this sort of thing and move forward in a positive way. So that's why I really went back up there to try and get him to do, and that's when it got hit. I mean, the first time it was, we're sitting in caravans and it was all right. He didn't batter me heat as much as the second time, I got to say. But that was when because I got no, what it was is the reason why he's gone on about my phone and stuff and that, right, is because I went and met my cousin after an NEA meeting, and he had a car, and I convoyed with him in his car, and that car had been used, that my cousin had been driving in shootings in the West End in Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
So what the police started doing was they started harassing my family, and they started they went to my girlfriend's house, they interviewed her kids, they interviewed her, they went to other family members' house and raided their house, but they never all asking questions about me. So I had to forced us to walk into the police station to ask them what was going on, why they were asking us loads of questions about me. So that's what I done. And I just happened to be going to the farm when that sort of stuff was going on. And I turned around and said to Paddy, what if they ask us for my phone and stuff and all that? I didn't want to give them my phone. You know, I didn't want them looking at me messages and stuff and what my internet is. I didn't want the police looking at me internet history and knowing what I didn't want them looking at me personal messages between me and my girlfriend and stuff and all that. And that's what I was worried about. Nothing else. Nothing else. And he come up with all this crap. But in any case, I had to hand me phone into the police so they could eliminate us from the inquiries. And that's exactly what they done. You know?
Yeah.
The car was last seen convoying with me and was never ever seen again or traced again. So and that was the end of it for me. The whole lot. That's the whole thing.
So when did he first come up with this allegation that you were not safe around children?
This was when I left. When I fell out with him, our Decker, because Decker had stuck up for Paddy on a rave with Steve Rafe, right? And Decker had getting Steve on the podcast to say that they didn't believe that Paddy was a sex offender, right? And back down on whatever stuff that may have been said around Paddy being a sex offender, right? And I thought that was great for Pad, and that was something for him, that positive that Decker had done for him, and he didn't. He just
yeah. But what I'm asking, Cookie, this is going into a big long spiel here. When did he first say to you that? When did Paddy first make the suggestion that you were not safe around children? I don't need to know all that. I just need to know when. Were you? In other words, what I'm asking for is, did you still know?
Come out on YouTube with it, and that was a canny few months ago.
But were you?
And then he come out and says, he's not really a bacon.
But were you friends with him still after that? He said that.
No, I haven't. I will never speak to him again for calling me that. No.
So once he called you that was all. Because when did he? Because this is the question I had, right? We all know, or anyone that watches knows, that the only reason he fell out with Decker was because Decker's talked to Steve. But there were rumours going around about Decker being a danger to women and children before that.
Paddy knew all about that.
He would have known all about that. So
he knew all about that because I asked him. I turned on and said, because when I went up the farm, I was wanting to try and manage the situation into a positive situation so it could move forward and stop all the allegations and all the crap, right? About people killing people and stuff like that, right? Didn't want none of that, right? Right? And then he said, I've getting Decker involved. This kid called Decker, he's a bit of a fighter and that. And I totally disagreed with it, right? And he says, I didn't trust him. I didn't want them runders and all that. And he says, no, I've checked him out. He's okay. He's had a bit of a history where he slapped a lassie's horse in a nightclub and got done for it. And he's had a really hard time of a canny few people because of that since, right? But he's all right, he's cushy, right? So Paddy 100% knew everything about Decker. Before, he had, you see, with the manipulation with me. This is about manipulation with me, why he's calling me this calling me a freaking a bacon. I didn't want to
Mm,
say the N word and all that, right? But that's what he's trying to manipulate us there. He was mentioning, he was saying that he wanted the managers on to manage a witness in some murder case onto James English show. Well, I
mm,
had no idea that that was me at that time because he did have other people coming to the shed, and that was Rhonda. He had
yeah.
Rhonda going to the shed for a lot. He's knew her for a long, 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 long time. So he knew the full score about Decker.
Well, that's what I mean. It was so this nonsense, like he's horrified, and that's what gets me so annoyed with people. Not
No,
just
he's
him,
not.
is
No,
when
Ollie.
people start weaponizing it. It's not a subject to be weaponized.
No, it's
And
not.
that's what it is. And also, let's just point out, right, the two of them, him and Tony Bakers. All that I'll say is Sayers laws check, Claire's laws check, and they go absolutely berserk. That's all I'll say about it. But you just have to, as I say, let them get on with it.
Mhm.
But um, so certainly, anything else you want to go on to, Cookie, either with this situation or how you see it unfolding, or anything about how you're going to deal with this. More important, how you're going to deal with it and go forward. Because I get the impression it knocks you, but you're not going to let it affect you.
No, well, it doesn't affect us, you know. I saw that I didn't watch Paddy's videos and stuff and that, so that didn't. Sometimes I soften after a while, and I'll watch one of his videos, and I'm,
Mm,
you know, uh, but but I want to move forward in a positive way, me and I do. I do. I'm gonna get out the tune, and I'm gonna talk to some of the lads, and I'm gonna try and get my book wrote and all that properly and that. You know, that's what I'm gonna focus on. I want to try and, like I say, bring more awareness to what's going on in my prisons. Why
yeah,
we're, why we're releasing dangerous criminals every single day from British prisons, and we're doing now about it. You know.
because yeah, this it's a mess. The prison
Mhm,
systems, they know that it's
mhm,
definitely a mess. Oh,
mhm.
ghosty things like that. So watching one the other day, you did a ghosty one, didn't you?
I done it with a couple of pals. I had them were having a drink and stuff and that. And I don't drink on out, you know, and they got arguing about it at that doing a daft Ouija board, and we ended
Oh,
up in this this church thing where
not Ouija boards now. Oh
that's what
no,
they
no.
want to do.
I'm
But
sorry. When you see The Exorcist, no, 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 no one would ever get me
no,
to use a Ouija board.
but I would love to get on some good ghost hunts and stuff and all that. Right? I wouldn't mind doing that with a few YouTubers on. So if you're
I'd like to
interested
do
sometime,
that. I would.
I'd
I'd
get
like
on a
to.
ghost hunt with you, like
But
most
I'd be
definitely.
going around with me smudging sticks and me
Hmm.
Santo Palo Santo and all that, going like that, doing it because I'm a terrible coward. I would say I'm brave until the lights go out. Then it's like I'm terrified. But I've had a few. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that because some brilliant
Hmm.
places to go around, isn't there? But
There
do
is,
it
huh?
properly because you see, I
Hmm.
was watching one the other night and it was all like no cameras, but they would just
Hmm.
have the cameras pointing
Hmm.
at these different places, and you
Aye,
could actually see those things they call orbs. And I was
that's right.
thinking, oh, it's dust. I thought it's dust,
Hmm.
but a couple of them were bright lights, and I thought, oh,
Hmm.
that's weird. That is weird. That, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'd like to do that
Hmm.
sometime,
Hmm.
and we'll have
Oh,
to.
lovely.
Do you know who we'll have to ask to come along with us? Video
Who?
Craig.
Aye.
Oh, can you imagine that? It would be a nightmare. But he'd be more bleeding scary than the bleeding ghost. He'd be because he doesn't believe in ghosties.
Well, it
Doesn't.
would be good. If you were a YouTube character,
Oh,
well, I'll tag along.
look, I don't want to be in a dark room with him because I have feelings, that I might be getting touched up in specific places, and he'll be blaming
Aye.
on the ghost. I've
Aye, he
got
does
that
like
worried
you,
about.
he does like you.
Oh yeah, Ouija board was actually a toy. It was originally then,
That's
but
right.
oh no,
Aye.
oh come on, you can't watch The Exorcist and then not think. Do you know who I met? I've always wanted to meet, but never. I've always wanted to meet Linda Blair. I've
Mm,
had a message of her on
mm,
Facebook, but I've
mm,
never actually met her. But
mm.
I actually met, and see
Is
if you
she
know
still
this name.
alive? Is Linda Blair still alive?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, I thought I
yeah.
died, you know.
Oh, she's a wonderful, compassionate woman. She does a hell of a lot of work for dogs.
Oh, that's
Hell, I follow.
aye.
If you go on YouTube, she's actually on Facebook. She's actually got
Mhm,
Linda Blair Wales, something
mhm,
organising for animals. She's
mhm,
absolutely amazing. But I always want to meet her. Never met her, but I actually met Mercedes Cambridge.
mhm.
Now, do you know who she was in the film Mercedes Cambridge?
Was she the mother?
No,
Was she not the mother
you
if
didn't
the
actually
lackey?
see her. You didn't see her.
Oh, right. No.
You heard her. She was the
Oh,
voice
she
of the
was the voice.
demon. Yeah, she was
She was the
you
voice.
mother sex cooks in hell.
Aye.
And I saw the, oh God, it was years ago. And she, little woman, and she was also famous for being in Johnny Guitar with Joan Crawford. So anything to do with Joan Crawford, I'm obsessed with. I absolutely think Joan Crawford was the best film actress that ever was on screen. And so I immediately want to know, and of course, it's famed. Joan Crawford hated her,
Aye.
was very jealous of Mercedes
Oh,
Cambridge. But my God, it was only not long after. I won't go into it, but what happened to Mercedes Cambridge, everything just unloaded with the son,
mm.
killed his family. Oh, it was horrendous. Absolutely, how she survived that, I don't know. But she's not with us. But yeah, I can say I actually met someone from the Exorcist, the voice of the demon, Mercedes
Mm,
Cambridge. And
mm.
she didn't even actually get, if I remember rightly, she didn't get put in the credits.
Did she not?
No,
That's
if you
terrible.
put,
That was a good
I
performance.
don't know why that was, but if you actually go on to YouTube and type in Mercedes Cambridge, The Exorcist, you'll get her talking about when she
Mm.
was doing the voice and all this because she had to get off the wagon. She was a terrible drunk, like a lot
Oh,
of people
aye,
are in
aye,
Hollywood. A lot of
aye.
people, bad drunk, and so she had to do it convincingly. She had to go back on the sauce and start smoking again, and so she could use all the crap that was she was building up to come out with the voice. But oh, she had a terrible. But I'd love to meet Linda Blair, but never have. Um, but yeah, we'll have to come up with something about this ghosty home. I'd love to do that. Go
Ah,
somewhere
sure.
really, really spooky. But I'm a terrible
Be
counselor.
great. Be great, Anne.
Yeah, I'd
Be
be like,
great one.
oh.
Mhm.
But we'll do that. But anything else that you want to talk about, Cookie?
No, not really. I'm all right, Anne, unless you want to ask us any questions out like that, you know.
Well, what's this? There's a few good stories about things. Oh, on the Exorcist set during the film, and oh yeah, we're going into doing things. Yeah, the set on fire. The didn't it? And loads of people died during it. But
Mm,
actually, if you heard the true story behind the Exorcist, the young boy actually happened to be a young boy in Mount Rainier, and it was God. When was this? 19. He might. I think he's still alive. Very, very old now. Very,
mhm,
very
mm,
old. But it was the 40s, and he a Ouija board again.
mhm,
Tried to contact, he was trying to contact his either his grandmother or his aunt or someone like that. And that's how it all kicked off. But someone looked into it because the church once didn't want his identity being revealed. It's the only documented
mm,
exorcism, in depth exorcism
mm.
ever. And they didn't want his identity being revealed. So what happened was that they had to change who wrote the book? Oh my God, why can't I remember his name? William Blatty. William
Mm,
Blatty had to change the it from being a boy to a girl to hide his identity.
mm,
So that's
mm,
the only
mm,
reason it was a girl
mm.
in the film.
Aye, aye, I didn't know
And
that.
yeah, but someone looked into it, and this is saying on the internet you will have some great investigators, and they'd make
Mhm,
wonderful detectives. Every murder case would be getting
mhm,
solved if
mhm.
they went into the police. It would. And he looked into this and actually found out who he was. And he was a very old
Oh,
man at the time in his 70s.
aye.
And he was in New York. But he said it was all a load of bunkum because this the house, he first worked out something was wrong because the house in Mount Rainier, which was supposed to be the original house, didn't
Aye,
fit the description of what was given in the case files.
aye,
And
right.
without going too far into it, because it's quite complex, He worked out where he actually came from, went to where it was, and the people said, "Oh, look," they said, "he was just a really what they called a delinquent kid back then." And they said he was spoiled by his parents. And they said this thing with the shaken bed. They said the beds were on wheels. And oh, thank you. Thank you for the pussycat. Yeah, it was here the other day again on my fence, and they gave some chicken. Oh, thanks for that, Carol, sweetheart. Again, some little treat or hair. I don't know what it is. But anyway, he found out who he was, and then he said about the bed. They were on wheels, and you could make them shake just by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But a few of them said there was only one incident where they thought, "Oh, there's something horrible going on here." He was in school, and they all saw it, and they said his gestures went one side to the other, and they said he was really getting upset by this happening. He couldn't stop the desk moving from
Aye.
side to side. And some doctor said a phone slid across the table on its own when he was talking to him. So there was something going on. But of
Mm-hmm.
course,
Mm-hmm.
head spinning around and all that's a different thing
Well,
altogether.
it does have to be dramatized for Hollywood, doesn't it?
Oh, they definitely
Aye.
dramatized it
Aye.
there. But them remaking The Exorcist, which I think is
I don't know.
stupid. It's
Mm.
stupid. Yet apparently next year, so this year or next year, they're making a remake of The Exorcist. No, 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 no. You're not going to be able to best the original. You
I
can't.
don't think they'll capture the feel of the whole
Can't.
whole film, you know.
I
But I would
said,
love to try and experience for the first time something paranormal happening around us.
oh, I've experienced paranormal stuff myself a few times.
Mhm.
Nothing like that. I mean, I've
Aye.
never, my God, I've never met anyone that's possessed or anything like that. But I've never actually seen anything. But
Can I
I've
ask, have
heard
you
things.
always been on your own when you've experienced, when you've,
No,
no?
no. One was in a full room. I was talking about this to Video Craig the other week. One was I was in the View, we used to call it, Gosson's Building in Liverpool. Gosson's Building, very famous, famous shop in Liverpool, very
Mhm.
expensive, my God. But there used to be the View. It's not there now. It's turned into apartments. Like hell, I had to get an apartment there. And we were renting out for rehearsals because there was a show going on, and we needed. I was a production manager on this particular show, and we were using this place. Well, I'm telling you now, Steve, I used to hate going up the stairs there or come back down, especially come back down because when you get that feeling that you've got it, you're walking downstairs and you think there's something behind me. Well, this was really not nice behind me. You could
Mhm.
literally feel it, something in glaring at you as if it wanted to really do you harm. That sensation I got, and I thought I was the only one, but other people told me, they said, "I'm not." Would you come down the stairs with me? And I'd go, "Why? I don't want to go down on my own." And
Mhm.
so I said, "Are you getting that same feeling I am?" And we all found out that we were all getting this weird feeling walking downstairs, and we wouldn't use the lift because the lift kept on breaking down.
Mhm.
And no way am I getting in a lift that breaks down like that.
Mhm.
So to cut a long story short, there was this night we were having to go into overtime because the rehearsals weren't going to plan. And I was saying to him, I was like, yeah, work, work, work. I don't want to hear any sounds. I want to hear rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. So I was sitting in the office and suddenly it went quiet. And I thought, right, that's it. They're going to get us. They're going to get the tongue lashing that they've been waiting for. So I went out and they were all like looking at the doors. They had these big, massive iron doors leading
Aye.
onto the stairs, concrete stairs. And so I said, "What happened?" And they said, "Didn't you hear it?" So I said, "No." And they said, "Don't I don't know whether I did hear something or not, but I remember, but it wasn't loud enough that it registered." I said, "No, on me." And so they said, what had happened was they could go out on the stairs for a quick ciggy. Now these stairs were all concrete. You could see right out the minute you opened the door. You could see up, you could see down. So there was no way anyone could run away or no way
Mhm.
that someone could
Mhm.
hide. And they said they came back in, and as they closed the door, they said this banging, and they said the doors. Now these were iron leading fire
Aye.
doors were
Aye.
buckling in and out. It was that loud and that powerful. So one of the girls thought, "Oh, someone's out there."
Uh-huh.
We've locked someone else. So she opened it, and the minute she opened the bang and stopped, and there was no one out there. And that freaked them all out. Now, I've never seen people freaked out so much, but there was
I'm
a
getting
fella.
shivers now. Honestly, I'm getting shivers.
Oh,
That them.
those
Aye.
stairs, I wouldn't go anywhere near them. But
Mm,
anyway, um, I left, and other people left. It all, it all came to an end. But there was a young man, and he had a distinctive voice that was there, and he had all kinds of problems. He had a drinking problem, all
mm,
sorts. And God help him, he took his own life. And I'm not even going to mention the way he did it, because I thought, how the hell could
mm,
anyone
mm,
do that?
mm,
Anyway, this fella that used to jeer us all and go, oh, it's all nonsense, all you're imagining it, and he used to think it was all funny. I met him a few years later, and he was saying to me, he said, do you remember I used to jeer about that ghost thing
mm,
that you're all going on about? So I said, yeah. He said, I'm telling you now, he said, I swear down. He said, I was walking past the corridor where these doors were,
mm,
and he said this fella's name who had taken his own life. And
mm,
he said, as
mm,
clear as I'm talking to you now, he said, he spoke out my name. He
mm.
said, I nearly
Aye.
died. And he said, I'll never jeer or skiz anything like that
Mhm,
again. Then another time, I was at the Playhouse, a famous theatre in Liverpool, and I was on this like big a brick build out, because I was having to operate these sliders
mhm,
on a show that was going on. What was it? A Christmas Carol. And this day, I heard this voice as clear as day. No one could get up there. I was the only one up there. I'd see it if anyone was up there. And this voice as clear as day said the name, and I can't remember the name, into my ear. And I felt the breath on my face. And I thought, good God. And the cold places in theatres behind the stage, the freezing. So that alerts me straight away that this warm breath on my face. And so a woman was there, and she'd written the history of the Playhouse.
mhm,
And I was telling her about this. I said, oh, I was up there, and said, it's clear as day. And I said the name. She said, where were you? So I said, they were, I said, the brick thing is, I said, by the stage door. And she said, you know what? She said, years ago, that used to be built out. In other words, it went further out, um, past the stage door into the street. She said, that was this fella's name that I heard, his office. And that would have been the 1800s.
How creepy is that one?
So creepy, creepy, creepy. So yeah, so I'm a scared. I don't know that thing on the I think it's that thing on the stairs. I didn't like. No one did. That was malicious, whatever
No,
it was.
aye,
It
aye.
didn't want people
Mhm,
being there. It didn't
mhm,
want people
mhm,
being there. So,
mhm,
and something in my mind kept on saying British Second World
mhm,
War soldier for some reason. So
mhm,
yeah, I've heard me little things go. Yeah, lots of it. It's one of those things, as I said to Craig, until you experience it, you don't know.
You don't know, aye, that's right.
You don't know.
Mhm.
Then you suddenly think, oh, here we are. Oh, here we are, Timmy, right. Maybe, Anne, you could do a Jack the Ripper talk walk. I think that would be brilliant to Halloween. You're getting at me, aren't you? You're saying, freaking hell, that would make it scarier. Put your full makeup on. That would make it bleed. I know, Timmy. But actually, I'm going to be talking at some point. I'm going to keep it quiet about someone about Jack the Ripper towards the time that the Ripper cases happened in Whitechapel. So I will be talking to someone about that in the near future. So
Alright.
that will be happening. I'll have to go around on it. I have to go stories, whiten my face up like I used to. Where do I we're going here today? What will we
It's very
find, people?
hypnotising, and I gotta say.
Oh God, to tell you now. But yeah, we'll have to look into that. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll wind it up. Margie Clark. Do you know what?
There's a play out
I
there.
met her years, and it was only for a brief moment. Margie Clark, Playhouse legend. I've never actually seen her on there. Do you know? I never used to go because I was always with the ballet company, so I never got the chance to go to the Liverpool theatres. But the Playhouse, I'd say the best thing I saw there was Medea with Diana Rigg, Dame Diana Rigg, God rest her soul, and she was absolutely God. She was spine tingling in it. Medea, the witch. That was Jason of the Argonauts' wife, and she killed her two sons to get back at him. And
Mhm.
at the end, you just see this thing coming up, and the two young boys covered in blood, and she comes on with this white dress. And you know, Diane Rigg was dead tall. She was
Mm.
Emma Peel, wasn't she, in the Avengers? And all this blood smeared down her dress, and it was like, oh, it was absolutely horrible. And Jason running around screaming with grief. Oh, it was amazing. But anyway, that's a cheery note.
Mhm.
That's a cheery note
Sure it is.
to leave everything on. So anyway, I'll thank you, Cookie, and hopefully we'll
No, I've
talk
enjoyed
again
myself,
sometime.
Aaron.
Yeah,
Aye,
brilliant.
definitely
We'll
talk
definitely
again
look into
sometime.
this
Aye,
ghosty thing. Definitely
aye,
look
most
into this
definitely.
thing.
Aye.
So to all me viewers, thank you, me lovelies. And tomorrow, hopefully, I might be on doing the autism one, but I have to check what time it is. And thank you very much, Paris, for keeping everything in check. My Sergeant Major there, Paris Barrington. So take care, everyone. Take care, Cookie. Thank you
Aye,
for that.
take care, everyone. Take
Bye.
care.